Ooh, hello, friends. Welcome
Hello.
in. It's a
Welcome
PHNX.
to,
What?
welcome to the show.
Why are you interrupting me?
I didn't know if you left time for me to say something. You
Well, I
took a big
usually don't.
pause
So
there.
what's the difference today, huh?
All right,
Yeah.
jackass. You weren't here yesterday. I did the show.
Welcome into the PHNX Daily Bet Show, brought to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Shane Diefenbach, joined by the pleasant and vulnerable Johnny Venerable. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. It's Football Friday. I'm anxious. Cardinals have a must win on Sunday. We're going to talk about later today. But it's nice to be able to focus on everything but that game on this show because I root for teams that I hate. I hate a lot of the teams that I'm betting on this weekend. It's a weird dynamic. So college doesn't do it for me this weekend. NFL coming in hot, as Ratch says in the chat.
Yeah. There are some really weird games. I was talking to some people before this, and these lines are strange. The games are weird. We started off with a banger last night, and then the rest of the games kind of suck until Monday. There's like one or two games that I really like, but other than that, they're just kind of boring. And I think it's because a lot of the teams lost week one, so it's not as intriguing. But yeah, you guys did pretty well yesterday on your props. So let's just jump into it. Johnny, your picks, or your props. Clyde Edwards-Helaire did not score the first touchdown. Herbo hit that easily, and Eckler did as well. And then you also picked the Chiefs. Obviously, Totri picked his Chargers, but then I think Totri's props did pretty well as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at those. Mike Will, that was so free. Did Herbo pass for 2 touchdowns?
He had
Yeah,
3.
he did. Yeah, and then Pat Mahomes did not throw
4
an
if you count his pick 6. Ha, ha, ha.
But yeah, it was solid. It was a good day. So good job to you guys. That game was fun. Mike Williams, as I said in the chat, the over 4.5 receptions was the most free thing ever. It hit in the first quarter.
Well, it's like no Keenan Allen. I mean, come on. And you knew
exactly.
the Chargers love to throw the ball. They're one of the most fun teams to watch. They blew that game last night. I mean, I thought their defense played outstanding, and I think it's a further indictment of Vance Joseph and the Cardinals because this Chiefs team is good. It is not like historically great. Like Chargers, if that game he didn't throw that pick 6, they score there. The Chargers win that game. It's a winnable game for them. They held Kansas City to 2 offensive touchdowns. That's a fantastic effort. Brandon Staley, who we all feel like a little bit fraudulent, great defensive mind, didn't have it. I mean, it took probably a year for him to get his defense installed. So I'm still bullish on the Chargers. I think Chargers are going to be a very capable team in the playoffs come the AFC.
Yeah, I just think they're being held back by their coach, Brandon Staley. But that is neither here nor there. If
he called a good defensive game plan last night.
Yeah, still some very questionable offensive calls, but that's okay. I still think they're going to win 12 games. I think he's a fine coach. I would, as I said to Totri last night, I just wish Herbert had his Belichick. I think he deserves a better coach, but we'll see. Maybe he grows into his role a little more.
Real quick, if what's his name from New Orleans decides to come back, it's not going to be for the Dallas job. It's going to be for this job.
Yeah,
to coach Justin Herbert. Go ahead.
If you're a Chargers fan or if you're Totri, please cover your ears and eyes. This man. Do you know who this is, Johnny?
It's the kicker.
No, it's not. That's not Harrison Butker or the backup kicker. This is Justin Watson, a 3-year NFL wide receiver who nobody had heard of basically until last night. He went to
Penn State. Yeah.
No, he went to Penn. He didn't go to Penn State. He went to Penn. So yeah, that tells you all you need to know. But obviously scored a long touchdown last night. He also burnt J.C. Jackson to a mother effing crisp. So if you're a Chargers fan, maybe get a little bit worried. Just
don't pay free agent corners big money. That's what
maybe a little bit. J.C. Jackson obviously coming back from injury. We'll give him that, but a little bit scary for Mr. J.C. Jackson after getting burnt by Justin Watson. Hard to remember his name. Well, guys, obviously crazy, weird slate of games. Before we get into it, Johnny, you got a favorite that you're looking for NFL Sunday?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm very excited. I'm really excited to watch the Ravens-Dolphins game.
I'll tell you what. Right now, I think Seattle is going to give Trey Lance all he can handle, and I would love nothing more to see Seattle beat the Niners. I almost want that as much as I want a Cardinal win because number one, I think Seattle's. I mean, their Week 1 victory, it wasn't nicely earned, but they're not a great team. I just want the Niners exposed so bad. And if Trey Lance loses and looks bad in San Francisco, they're going to bench him for Jimmy Garoppolo. I want that next week because, again, if the Cardinals come out 0-2, like I need other things to get excited about, and the Niners collapse, it would be one of them.
Yeah, forget porn star Jimmy. Well, now we got lap dance Lance.
Have we confirmed that's him? Some people are saying that's not
I have
him.
no idea. It's just it's hilarious. It's just a funny
Nice
idea.
judgment. People get Kyler shit for playing video games. Like,
Yeah.
come on now.
Exactly. All right. Well, let's talk about our picks.
Yep.
First, we'll go with you, Mr. Johnny Venerable. We got 5 each this week, even though the lines are a little weird. I see some regular faces on this slate, Johnny. I think you have your teams.
Yes. Cardinals are going to cover that. I don't know if they're going to win. I think it's a field goal game. I'm horrified at the idea that Isaiah Simmons, who's been playing the slot again in practice this week, is going to cover Hunter Renfrow. Jock could be laying on the ground. If you want an anytime touchdown for Hunter Renfrow, seems like a lock. I didn't even put that in my bets, but I'm gonna bet on that on DraftKings. He didn't score last week. Buccaneers -2.5. Again, I'm not buying the Saints. They should have lost last week. I know they've always played well against Brady. I think Todd Bowles is going to put on a defensive clinic. I think we're going to get a defensive touchdown from 2 of these teams this week, one of which is the Buccaneers with Todd Bowles. Then I think the Lions have a pick 6 of Carson Wentz this week. If I'm picking the Lions to win this division, they need to win this game, and they need to win it handedly. Ford Field, they're going to be on fire. You can't go 0-2 to start the year at home if you're Dan Man Campbell. And then we talked about earlier this week, my favorite bet of the week, Seahawks +8.5. The Niners are not blowing out anybody. And we saw last week, they got outscored 19-0 in the second half by Justin Fields. Say what you want about the Seahawks. I think they're more talented than the Bears offensively easily. They have DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. I like their running back group more. They have more weapons. The Bears literally had nothing. And even before the rain started, Shano, and it became a monsoon, Fields was picking them apart. I think their secondary is overrated. No George Kittle again this week. No Elijah Mitchell. Come on, Seattle. And then I think Dallas is going to look like a hot mess disaster offensively. But something's going on with the Bengals. They just don't look right. I think this game's close. Cincinnati's going to win it, but I think it's like 4 or 5 points. Dallas will play hard at home. They will. They won't get blown out.
I like all of those except for the last one. I'm staying away. I don't mind the reasoning.
That's a trap. That's a trap game for the public.
It's Cooper Rush, man. It is Cooper effing Rush. 30% of the time he gets pressured.
Mitchie last week.
What?
For Mitch Trubisky beat them last week.
I know, but Cooper Rush is probably the worst starting backup quarterback in the NFL. I genuinely think he's the worst backup quarterback in the NFL. 30% of the time he gets pressured, he gets sacked. That is an insane number. That's like one of the highest rates of sack I've ever heard. Rates of sack. Pause. It's insane. I'm staying away from that. Cooper Rush might put it on display. I don't see it. They're gonna have to get carried by Zeke. But yeah, the Seahawks thing. I got it at 10. That's why you should join on Tuesdays, because we go over the lines, playing guess the lines. When I heard it was 10 on Tuesday, I hammered it. I took it on Tuesday. It's now down to 8.5.
How many bills you put on that?
50 beans.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
But the thing for me is last year, the Niners had a good offensive line. It was really solid, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It looks so bad against a Bears defensive front that is not very good.
Well, here's the thing.
Is concerning.
Alex Mack retired. He was a good center for them. He was old, but he was good. Then they drafted Aaron Banks and a bunch of these like mid-round interior offensive linemen. They have not hit. They're average turnstile players. So you've got 4 replacement level players, and I'm including Mike McGlinchey, who is not a good right tackle. He got whooped last week. And then Trent Williams, who did not play well. Like everybody loves to slobber all over Trent Williams. He didn't look good against Chicago. He gave up a sack. Robert Quinn and company had their way. Part of the issue is, and like you watch them play, Trey Lance takes way too many hits. I don't root for injuries. He's going to get hurt. He's going to hurt a shoulder. He's going to hurt a quad, something. He plays quarterback like a fullback. Like he runs way more than Cam did. He's got great ability to like gain 5 yards when they need to running the football, but like that's not sustainable. What they're doing, and Kyle Shanahan knows this, is not sustainable. They paid a premium for Kittle and Debo. Ayuk's a first-round pick. They are going to get so impatient with him because they are set up to throw for the first time in a long time. And then they've got this quarterback. Let's be honest. He is It's a tie for last. He is, and Zach, because we all know what Zach Wilson is. He's the worst quarterback of that group, unequivocally. You can't even make an argument that he's the best. He's an athlete playing quarterback.
Yeah.
Come on, Pete, put a game plan together.
Yeah, I'm still not completely out on Lance, but it's getting very damn close. If he lays a couple more eggs, then I'm gonna be.
You love to see it.
Yeah, completely out. Before we get into our props, we got to get into my picks and talking about that Seattle game. I also like the Seahawks plus 8.5 still, even though I got it at 10. This is an opportunity to tease some games definitely this week. I think you can tease the Seahawks all the way up to 14.5 with a 6-point teaser. And there's a bunch of other games that I really like. The Saints or the Buccaneers to cover by 3.5 or whatever. Love that. So Seahawks plus 8.5. I like the under in the Seattle San Francisco game. I think it's going to be gross. It's a division game. The Niners are going to have to get right in terms of running the ball, I think. So I'm taking the under in that game. And then I told you this is one of my favorite games to watch. It's the Ravens and the Dolphins. This game is going to be so fun. Two of my favorite quarterbacks to watch, just because Tua is Tua, and you game plan around him. As the team that has him, you game plan around him. Can you come back to me really fast before? Did you see his quote over the weekend about not being able to see? And if the receiver wants the ball, they should get somewhere where they can see each other, because otherwise he doesn't know they're there.
Yes, and did you see the Ryan Fitzpatrick quote on him on Part of My Take? They asked him what he does, like what makes him special, and like Fitzpatrick had to dance around the question for like 5 minutes and basically said like it's his anticipation and accuracy maybe. Like he basically said he's average. He's an average
inside
player.
of 15 yards. He is very accurate. I will say that. Everything else is
fifth
very
overall
average.
pick over Justin Herbert. Like that is that. I think they're going to make the playoffs this year. I think they're too talented. This is a loaded roster. They're not paying him anything. Yeah. They've done a nice job. That's a disastrous pick. He won't be on the roster in 5 years.
Yeah,
because when
he'll be a backup.
When you have to ask him to carry the team, he can't do that.
Yeah,
that's why you take a player in the top 10.
Yeah, I just think Mike McDaniel is going to make him look really good for the rest of the year, but we'll see.
I agree with that.
Pulling back my picks. Also like the Jags plus 3, just because the Colts do not know how to beat the Jaguars. It might change this week. I'm not in on Matt Ryan. I like this Jaguars team, especially in that second half of the game last week. They looked a lot better. But yeah, I'm taking the Jags plus 3. And then New England at Pitt. That game is for sure going under. Pittsburgh's going to look terrible. They're going to look really bad this week. Everyone's really high on them after their defense played really well last week. Mitch Trubisky, blah, blah, blah. He's sick. Apparently didn't practice with an illness. I would assume he's going to start. New England's going to get right, but I think it's going to be gross. New England's going to rely really heavily on the run game.
The over-under for that game is 40 even now.
Amazing. Well, you can get all these odds live and updated on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, flash bets and all. It's a good time. Last night I made some good coin on some props, which are always available, and you can make some good coin when you download it. Use that promo code PHNX. Plus, everyone can still experience the early win promotion. If your team leads by 10 at any point in the game this week, you get paid out. You just got to click on the promotion, opt in, use the token when you bet on the money line. And even if your team loses, if they are up by 10 at any point in the game, you get paid out instantly. It's just that simple. So download it today. Use that promo code PHNX. It's promo code PHNX on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for more details. Let's get into my DraftKings Sportsbook pick of the week. It's the second page of my props. Has to do with Devontae Mother effing Adams. Big fan of him this weekend because, Johnny, I'm sure you've seen this. For the first time in his NFL career, his grandparents are coming to the game. And when he said that in the press conference, he lit up. He's so excited. He had 140 receiving yards last week. Now he's playing the lowly secondary.
Don't.
Okay. You don't think their secondary is bad, Johnny?
I thought you were going to say the lowly Arizona Cardinals.
No, they're not low. They're a solid team. They're not lowly. Their secondary is, though. I think he's going to smash through this over. I like his over on receptions as well, but I'm taking his receiving yards. I think he has a couple of really big plays, but I also like Kyler Murray in this game. I think this game's going to be close. I'm not going to bet on the spread because I have no idea what's going to happen. Both these teams, still, we don't know what they're going to look like, but I'm taking Kyler Murray's over on rushing yards at 30.5. I think he goes nuclear this week, and this is one of those games where you look at Kyler and you're like, he's really good. Let's just remember how good he is.
They have 3 active receivers of note this week. Andy Isabella hurt his back in the weight room. Sure, Andy, get off the team. Rondell Moore, the glass man, will not be active. So it's Hollywood Brown, it's AJ Green, and it's Greg Dortch, for better or worse. You've got Zach Ertz, who did practice all week. somebody, for the love of God, activate Trey motherfucking McBride so we can see him play football. I like those props. I like mine better. Here are my props for this weekend. I'm dabbling in a couple different games, first of which being I think Kyler eats. I think the offense eats. I don't know if they're going to win the game, but as Shano mentioned, it's got to be on the legs and the arm of Kyler Murray. I think we get an anytime rushing TD at plus 175. That feels like easy money right now because I think they're going to utilize RPO with he and James Conner. They wanted to last week, but that game got out of hand. So if the Cardinals can keep it a one possession game, we're going to see Murray use his legs. I think, he was at 200 yards passing last week, garbage time, not a meaningful fourth quarter. They pulled him. I think he hits 254 easily. And then I think Nick Chubb finds the end zone this week. I actually like Cleveland a little bit to win that game outright. Jacoby Brissett, he looked better than I thought last week. And I get it. I know they played Carolina, who's terrible, but to me, like, right now, that running game in Cleveland is about as good as it gets, and Chubb is probably my favorite back in the NFL to watch. I like him more than McCaffrey. And if they get the ball first possession opening drive, unless Kareem Hunt snakes another touchdown like he did last week, I like Chubb to cash in at almost plus 400. That's great odds.
Yeah, love that. Devontae Adams' odds to score a touchdown this weekend are
Is it minus 300?
minus 180.
Yeah, it's. I think that's pretty safe. What's Hunter Renfrow? What's Hunter Renfrow?
You know what I hate though? Josh Jacobs to score a touchdown at minus 140. Hunter Renfrow is plus 135.
You should bet on that right now.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of points scored in that game. I can tell you that much.
Poor Isaiah Simmons may tear something trying to cover.
Yeah,
Renfrow. Did you see him against Juju last week? It was awful.
Yeah. Well, regardless, I think Devontae's receptions are 7.5 as well. He got targeted 17 times last week, Johnny.
I would expect.
I think he might get targeted 20 times this week. I'm not even exaggerating.
They're just gonna have to maul him.
Yeah.
The Cardinals don't have anybody even remotely close. I love Byron Murphy, he's a friend of our program, but Byron, good luck. Find Jesus, find God this weekend because. All right,
let's get into my props. Lamar, I told you, love this game. This is probably my game of the week. So excited to watch this. Thinking is over in rushing yards, 55.5. I think he goes crazy against this Dolphins defense. He's going to have to move out of the pocket. This defense is pretty solid secondary wise. I mean, they fly all over the place, but Lamar's like a jet compared to their commercial airplanes that are in the secondary. Taking his over in rushing yards, 55.5. And then DeAndre Swift. This Commanders front seven looked terrible against the run last week. I think they looked terrible against DeAndre Swift. I really liked what the offensive line did. The yards before contact for DeAndre Swift last week were astronomical. I'm taking his, and a lot of it was in part to that big run, but still, even on normal plays, I'm taking his over at 60.5 rushing yards. And then A-Raj, anytime rushing touchdown, he is the Bears' daddy. He's going to go crazy against this team. And for some reason, he loves to score rushing touchdowns against the Bears. I'm hammering this, getting plus money on that. Give me it, inject it, turn it up.
I like it. Like all your picks. Listen, it's so fun to bet on props on DraftKings, especially when you don't feel great about the lines themselves and they're a little icky of a game. Dive into those props, man. You can go down a rabbit hole, man. I've got a couple defensive props. I couldn't even find them. I have to double back into DraftKings. I think the Lions are going to score a defensive touchdown this week easily. I love it. Anytime touchdown, plus 500. Lions score touchdown. See, Shane found it for me. He's big time. Look at that. I think we're going to get that.
If you want defensive touchdown props, it's not in defensive and special team props on DraftKings. It's in touchdown scores. So
does that count as special teams as well, Shane? Defenses and special teams, or just defense?
Yep, it is defense and special teams.
Folks, that is hitting this weekend, as is TJ Hawkinson. He's going to eat against Washington. Rivera loves giving up big yardage to the tight end. I'm all in on the Lions this weekend. That's going to be the game. If you're hanging out with us at Four Peaks, watch along for the Arizona Cardinals game Sunday. I'm going to be there a little early, and I'm going to be rooting on the Detroit Lions. And come hang out and root on the Arizona Cardinals. $5 per ticket. One free beer, cards, tickets, giveaways. Tickets are selling out fast, folks, so you better grab them now if you can. Myself, Bo Brock, Damian Anderson, Frank Sanders, the great number 81. We're all going to be there, hopefully watching Kyler Murray and company tear up the Las Vegas Raiders. That's this Sunday, live at Four Peaks 8th Street Pub in downtown Tempe, 1225. Be there. Where was I last week for the ASU game? Listen, my man, Saturday's family day with Johnny because I'm working every other day of the week. Sundays are where I put my big boy pants on and we get after it.
Yeah, this is one of our viewers who won the tickets last week
Ooh,
for
nice,
the
Daniel.
AFC
Can't wait
Cardinals
to
tickets.
hang.
10 rows up, by the way, in the end zone. So if you want to win some free cards tickets, come out to the watch party tomorrow. It's going to be a good time. He also says, we are your family, Johnny. All right. Well,
that's true.
One thing I want to end with is the Detroit game, because I did want to talk about this a little bit with Carson Wentz, and I forgot to bring it up before. This is a hot take. I think what the Colts did last year with Carson Wentz is exactly what you shouldn't do with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz loves to make mistakes. He will do that, and that's just a part of him playing quarterback. But they were trying to limit his mistakes, and I think it really limited that offense. Washington is just let Carson Wentz do whatever he wants, and it's hilarious because it's the disparity you recognize with Carson Wentz all the time, where it happened last week, 2 interceptions back to back, and then the next 2 drives were 2 passing touchdowns. I also think Jahan Dotson, one of my probably he wasn't really highly touted as a recruit. People liked him, but
he's supposed to go to the Cardinals.
Yeah, didn't love him because he wasn't a great separator. But you don't need a great separator if Carson Wentz is your quarterback, because he's the type of quarterback to be like, fuck it, he's down there somewhere, and Dotson goes and gets the ball at the high point of attack. So I think that offense is a lot more fun than people realize.
I'm going to make a prediction right now. Indy doesn't make the playoffs. Washington does. Dallas implodes. They don't make the playoffs. I'm not buying the Giants. Eagles are legit. I think the NFC West is going to eat each other. I think Washington, with Ron Rivera, who's always underrated, they're always around 500, even with horrific quarterback play. They've got real skill players. Yeah, that's a team that is going to be they could get blown out. They could win. They remind me kind of that Jameis Bruce Arians team where he threw 30 touchdowns, 30 picks.
Yeah.
Frank Wright, to me, I think everybody's getting fired in Indianapolis. I watched Matt Ryan last week. His arm looks shot. He looks done. Atlanta couldn't have moved off of him fast enough. And they're starting Marcus Mariota this year. They didn't have a contingency plan at quarterback. So, and they ate a huge cap hit. I think Indianapolis is in a world of trouble. If my Jags could start jagging off and get their together, I think they could make some noise in that division.
Yeah, definitely.
Not a buyer of the Colts.
Yeah, the Colts are not very fun. If you need a waiver wire pickup, Carson Wentz this week. Definitely pick up Carson Wentz.
I want to play in the AFC South. How do I get the Cardinals to the AFC South? Yeah. I feel like we should probably be in there.
All right. Well, we will be back on Monday to review these picks. We're live every Monday through Friday at noon right here on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Also on Sunday, don't miss out on the Tailgate Show going live at 9 a.m. Arizona time. Always a good time when we drinking, having some fun, talking.
I will be wearing football pants on the show.
Are you actually going to be wearing them this time?
Yeah, because I didn't know we were doing location hits sometimes, and so I'm like, I can't wear football pants out in public. Yeah. So, but yes, in studio I will have my football pants on. Good.
That's huge. All right. Well, we'll see you on Monday. You can follow me on Twitter at Shade Deep. You can follow Johnny on Twitter at Johnny Benner. We'll follow the show on Twitter, PHNX_bets. Don't forget PHNX Cardinals live at 4:30 today, right, Johnny?
4:30 today in studio. Myself, Frank Sanders, Bo Brock, talking all things Cardinals at Raiders preview. Who's in? Who's out? Find out 4:30 today. PHNX Cardinals live.
PHNX Cardinals live at 3 p.m. in studio as well. Make sure to tune in for that. Going to be a good time talking Eastern Michigan University football game tomorrow. Barf. And our post-game show. Definitely come hang out with our
Slaughter.
Post-game show.
Come on, Herm.
Tomorrow night. Going to be a good time. All right. We'll see you guys next week. But until then, peace, love, and Johnny in football pants.